Hi, this is Kalari. Welcome to Scrum and Agile Digest. Let's continue talking about sprint timeline.
All right. What about cons? Short sprint is great, but it may not always work, right? So, let's look at the cons. Now, it's hard to get a finished product. If you have a small cycle, let's say a 1 or 2 week cycle, it's not always, you're not giving yourself too much time to actually get a finished product out, right? Teams might find it stressful, having 1 or 2 weeks, you have to give out a product within 2 weeks. It's not always the ideal situation. You have so many meetings going on, so they can get stressed out. The sprint meetings can be a big overhead for a 1 week or 2 week sprint. You're having sprint planning, you're having daily scrum, so it takes away a lot of time, right? A lot of focus. It depends on your team. You have to pick a sweet spot. Usually when you have a small team, when you have a new team, it's best to go with 2 weeks. 1 week might be an overkill. Try to go with 2 weeks. But never go beyond 4 weeks. Usually all the Scrum teams that I've worked with, we never go to 4 weeks because that is a very long period to get feedback. So the sweet spot is usually 2 to 3 weeks. Try to stick to 2 weeks if possible. All right, important tips. Once a sprint is started, right? Once you've decided on the sprint timeline, do not change the duration. If you've decided that it's going to be 2 weeks, keep it 2 weeks. Everything, all your sprint ceremonies, all your velocity, everything is calculated based on 2 weeks, right? Don't change the duration, right? If you feel that you're not able to finish all the stories on time, basically this can be brought up in the next sprint. It can be brought up as a retrospective. It will give you an opportunity to figure out that maybe 2 week sprint is not ideal for you, or 3 weeks or 1 week sprint may not be ideal for you. You might need to go to a longer sprint. But the bottom line is, once the sprint started, do not change the timeline. And then, you need to choose the right sprint length. We already talked about this. You have to check your risk appetite, right? Every team has a different risk appetite, right? If you have a shorter risk threshold, risk tolerance threshold, I would say have a small sprint, because, that way you'll get constant feedback from your product owner, customer, and, you will make sure that you are on track. Right. If you have a longer you have more tolerance for risk, you can go for a longer sprint cycle. All right. And then after sprint planning, what you do is you are into the actual sprint deliverables. So you do a sprint kickoff. So, your sprint started, you can do a deep dive. We talked about this, the Timeboxed of sprints from 2 to 4 weeks. Each sprint is preceded by a sprint planning meeting. Best practice for a sprint is to complete the stories and deliver a minimal viable product. And any activities in progression during the sprint is visible using sprint backlog, sprint BurnDown charts. Goal of a sprint is to produce backlog items into renewable products that stakeholders can provide feedback on. And the sprint process, it's a continuous loop iteration. You have to rebuild every sprint. The end date will be based on the team velocity. So basically, this is something that you've already calculated in your sprint planning, how long you want your sprint to last. MVP, minimal viable product, you have to deliver after every sprint. This is very important. After every sprint, you need to show a minimal viable product. If you don't have an MVP after every sprint, it's not a sprint. You're not agile, you're not doing Scrum. The main foundation of Scrum is that you have to provide a working software after every sprint, right? No matter how small it is, it has to be a working software independent enough to be released on its own. You need to have customer feedback, continuous customer feedback. You have to adapt and change to the environment, and the whole team has to work together, right? The testers, developers, architects, business analysts, developers, everybody needs to work together as a self-organizing team. All right, so you've done the sprint planning, you're into a sprint, your sprint is started. Now, the next ceremony for sprint is, daily stand-ups, right? So it's a 15-minute kind of time-boxed stand-up that all the team members have to attend. And they have to give, it's not a status meeting as such, but we usually talk about 3 main points, what we did yesterday, what we're going to do today, and if there are any impediments or risks that needs to be highlighted. So it's also a good time to show the BurnDown. So basically the Scrum Master can show the BurnDown and see how the team is progressing on a daily basis. So again, everybody answers a few questions that we just talked about. So this is not a status for the Scrum Master, right? These are commitments of the peer, right? And avoid radio silence. Make sure everybody tries to contribute, speak up. We're not grilling the team to find out. We're not kind of micromanaging the team. That's not the goal of daily Scrum. We are trying to just find out if our team is on track. One anti-pattern that I've seen basically in Scrum teams is basically if a team member doesn't have anything to update, they might say that why should I attend? I don't have any updates to give. That's not a good practice. Even if the team member doesn't have any updates to give, you should encourage them to attend. Because they can contribute to other team members. They can give feedback if there's an impediment. Maybe they can help resolve it. Even if they don't have any updates, they should still attend the daily Scrum. The daily Scrum, it's very important that you try to keep it within 15 minutes. Don't try to extend it. You're having it on a daily basis. So any side conversations, it has to be taken offline or taken into another meeting. The Scrum meeting is just, it's just to see if you're progressing on the right track or not. Scrum Master is the facilitator. You have to communicate problems. And I've seen that sometimes it's just human, right? If you bring out a problem, people might start talking about it, and there are side conversations that can happen, and it can distract the team. But as a Scrum Master, you need to make sure that your team remains focused, and there's no sidebar conversation. There is no distractions, right? With the 15 minutes, and you should start at the right time and end within 15 minutes. So it's not a problem-solving session, right? It's not a way to collect information about who is behind schedule. You're not micromanaging. It's a meeting that the team members are going to attend, to make sure that the team is progressing, the sprint is progressing properly. And it's also a good way for the Scrum Master to track the BurnDown chart, right? So, stand-up meetings are very essential. Try to have it every day. You promote individuals' commitment to the team. Also, it helps in close working relationship with the team. You can identify issues quickly in a timely fashion, right? What do you avoid? Any external interference, right? If you have other team members